baseball content than we do a week here on the Lombardi Line. Obviously, we're all NFL all the time, so we'll have plenty of NFL minicamp conversation upon us, looking at some futures as well. But let's get started here in the NBA. The Boston Celtics up 3-0 in the finals. And where I sit right now, and we talked about it in hour one, I find it pretty hard to believe that the Mavs are even going to get one in this set, the way things have gone.
Yeah, me too, because you just watch the games and you just don't ever get a sense that Dallas can score when they need to score. You know, one of the things I think that football translates to every sport we watch is great teams in football can throw when they need to throw, when the opponent knows they're going to throw. They can run when the opponent knows they're going to run, and they can stop the run when the opponent knows they have to stop it or stop the pass. And that's the sense I get watching Boston. When Boston knows they need to score, they call a timeout like he did early in the first quarter, and boom, they're going to – there he is. Al Horford makes one of his three-pointers, right? They know they can get what they want. They just have to stay patient. And the longer the game goes, they eventually take control. That's why football, basketball, any sport, it's about who's in control and who's in the lead. We get so caught up in watching the ball and the scoreboard that we lose sight of the game. And I don't think these games are close. Look, I wish Luka wouldn't complain as much, but everybody in the league does. You know, he complained a lot in the Oklahoma City one. And that series, they got him to stop complaining because Dort was beating the crap out of him. He really was. Wasn't getting a call. But they got him to stop complaining and play, and it helped. And they were able to win that series. But this one, he's still complaining because he's got these guys that are just switching on him and that are doing a hell of a job. I mean, when Hauser switched on him in the second quarter the other night and he had to take this really weird three, I mean, it really wears them down.
I wonder if, like, that side of his personality on the court annoys his teammates even. Like, dude, what are you doing, right? Especially that moment at the end of the game. Like, we need you. Let's stop playing this sloppy, messy brand of basketball. Stop screaming at the officials. The more that you're yelling and complaining, the less they're actually going to want to be on your side. So, you know, I wonder if even from a team standpoint, if that's a small, at least, point of contention here for someone who's supposed to be your leader. And so while Luka has a tough day, and defensively we know the liability in a lot of ways he has been, Brian Windhorst went pretty tough on him after the game, and we played that clip in hour one as well when he was on with SVP on SportsCenter last night. But for as many issues as he had, it's like, okay, finally Kyrie Irving steps up. Can anybody else? Because Kyrie put in his 35, so at least he had a good game, but nobody else is able to produce and able to do what they need to do on either end of the court, it feels like. So I'm pretty out on the Dallas Mavericks right now, which is disappointing because I know this is a team that everyone was largely rooting for coming into the set.
Yeah, I mean, look, they gave up 30 points in the first quarter, and they had control of the game. They stopped playing. They took some horrible shots. They had a big lead, and then Boston went on the 11-0 run. And then in the third quarter, they blew the game open. They allowed 35 points in the third quarter coming out at halftime when they had a 1-point lead going in at halftime. And so I just think, to me, they can't get control. They're just, look, is he hurt? Probably. They're not the same team. Their role players aren't playing near to the level that their roles are required. Kleber's been a disaster. He played 8 minutes the other night. Now, I know he's coming off of injury. Hardaway, they got nothing out of him. So, look, this is all going to get buttoned up. I don't think Dallas wants to make a trip back to Boston and have to come back. So, it's hard. You know, this is one of those where the better team is Boston, clearly. It's remarkable that Indiana actually played them better than Dallas had. Indiana had chances to win 2 games.
They absolutely did, and let that slip away. But with that in mind, a sweep against the Pacers and a potential sweep coming up here in a couple days to close out the NBA Finals for the Boston Celtics, who are now a minus 3,500 favorite in the series. The Mavs available at 17-1. But if you're taking that, that means you're betting on history to be made, despite a team looking pretty dead in the water here right now. Teams up 3-0 in an NBA postseason best-of-7 series, 156-0 in those respective sets. As far as the game coming up Next, in Game 4, the spread virtual pick'em game, Mavs laying 1 right now, total to 11.5. Also, just for reference, unders have swept the board in this series as well, going 3-0 to the under to this point. We also got some other NBA news this morning, Michael. According to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, JJ Redick will formally interview for the Lakers head coaching job this weekend, and a, quote, strong performance is expected to move him to the forefront of the franchise's search. Nobody saw that coming, did they?
Yeah, nobody did. I mean, Shams didn't see it. Look, he's been interviewing for the job. He's been doing a podcast with LeBron. Like, those two have been in harmony on that podcast. So, like, this is just a fait accompli. I think this is, there's a whole story out there about the whole Hurley thing, and maybe that wasn't really real. And not that Hurley, he came out today and said, I didn't need leverage. He's right. He didn't. But it seems to me that there's something about that story that doesn't make sense. And the fact that Riddick has had this job all along, I think it's going to come to fruition. Once this series is over, he's going to go out there. Now, look, it's going to be all rosy and peaches now when he gets started. But that's a hard job, the Los Angeles Lakers. That's not easy.
100%, because you have to deal with the aging stars of LeBron James as he rounds out his career, the personalities, the development of youth that's going to be coming in. And then what's that first huddle going to be like when JJ Redick is trying to draw up a play and LeBron says, no, I don't want to do that. This is what we're going to do. And he takes the whiteboard and does his own thing, because that's what LeBron James does. Like, how is he going to handle that? I think there's going to be a big learning curve stepping into. That's a tough first head coaching place to be.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it really is. And you got to be, and that's what I think the NBA has come to. Like, at some point, you have to be able to walk into the huddle and say, okay, here's what we're going to do. Mm-hmm. And everybody look at you and say, okay, we got it. We'll do that. That's called team. But can he do that? I mean, it's hard. Look, there's so many of these guys who aren't ready for these jobs that they get them. And one thing about the NBA is they think the coach is replaceable so easily. So I just think, to me, this is a challenge. But look, the Lakers roster's a challenge. Will Hill's going to get off his butt and do something about the roster too.
Well, I always try to put these things into terms that, like, I can understand, right? And I think about it from a TV side. If somebody gets thrust into a job in TV that they've never done before, and the first time the red light goes on and the teleprompter dies, how do you handle yourself? Or if a guest drops out and you've got to talk what you were going to talk to this expert about for 15 minutes, now you've got to do it by yourself. So there's going to be those types of things that JJ Redick's going to go through, and there's going to be growing pains. And usually coaches do it on a lower stage and build their way up. But starting right out the gates with the Los Angeles Lakers will certainly be a challenge. But he's a very smart guy. I'm sure if he accepts the job, there will be good reasons behind why. These last couple minutes, though, Michael, time for what's on Michael's mind. Last night, of course, Tom Brady was inducted into the Patriots Hall of Fame, had his number 12 jersey retired as part of a 2.5-hour event in front of a packed house at Gillette Stadium. What's on your mind as it pertains to the big day?
Well, I think you can fool some of the people some of the time, but not all the people. And the infomercial that was produced by Apple, by the Kraft family, which, of course, they deny having anything to do with it, that basically said the head coach was not really a part of the winning. They got embarrassed last night by Belichick's 3.5-minute standing ovation by the fans in New England who knew better, and by the players who talk who knew better, too. Because I think what people forget, when they throw this stupid narrative out there that, oh, it's all Tom Brady and it wasn't Belichick, that means it also wasn't Teddy Bruschi. That means it also wasn't Willie McGinnis or Randy Moss or Malcolm Butler, who makes a play here, or James or any of the players that contributed to this, right? James White, Shane Vereen, all the guys, Kevin Falk, right? And so that takes a personality on it to itself. And I think last night was, look, we saw Randy Moss get emotional by the crowd's reaction to him. They knew. He talked about how everybody was held accountable. Brady talked about it as well. So for me, it really was fulfilling to see him get honored. I was so happy for him. And it really brought the narrative back. Because if you listen to him talk, and you listen to what the players had to say about him, you find it hard to believe that there were 3 other NFL assistant coaches who were more qualified to be the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons than him. I mean, you really do, right? I mean, if you listen to that and see the Super Bowls and listen to the greatest, if you're Arthur Blank and you're sitting there watching this and you had a chance to hire this man and you listen to the players talk about him and you listen to how the fans reacted, and your people told you in the front office you had 3 better candidates than him, God bless you.
And I loved it wasn't me, it wasn't you, it's us in Tom's speech at the end of the night, because of, all of the division that has been tried to be made around everything. Obviously, 6 Super Bowls that Bill Belichick helped bring this organization. He is beloved for what was accomplished there in New England. I do think, though, Drew Bledsoe had the line of the night in talking about how Tom Brady is the GOAT in everything that he does, but he was the worst backup in the history of the NFL. Like, I just thought that was so great. He's like, you never understood when I got healthy. You were supposed to sit back down. Like, that's what you were supposed to do. So good. A 12-foot statue of Brady, by the way, is also going to be erected in his honor. So very, very special day with everybody celebrating the accomplishments of Mr. Brady. Coming up on the Lombardi Line next, time for a little No Way or No Doubt.
This is the Lombardi Line with former NFL executive Michael Lombardi. Now here is your host, Stormy Bonatoni, on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Get excited, ladies and gentlemen. We got a steal of a deal coming at you for our VSiN Pro annual subscription right now. You can upgrade to a Pro annual subscription for $199, which is down from our usual price of $240 plus. We're throwing in an extra month absolutely free. With a VSiN Pro subscription, you'll get exclusive access to premium analysis, expert picks, and advanced betting tools that'll give you an upper hand all year long. And here's the big news. Our NFL betting guide is coming out later this month. 2 weeks from today. This guide is your ultimate resource for the football season, packed with detailed teams, divisions, conference analysis, and of course, best bets from all of our hosts and experts for the upcoming season. Don't miss out on this limited time deal. VSiN.com/subscribe is how you can ultimately claim your discount in bonus month, but you need to use our promo code Lombardi, LOMBARDI, VSiN.com/subscribe, promo code Lombardi.
Do you disagree with these takes?
No way.
No way. Or do you approve?
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. No doubt in my mind. No diggity, no doubt.
It's time to ask Michael Lombardi. No way or no doubt.
All right, let's see what topics Michael is on board with today. And we're going to start with one of my favorite players in the league, Brock Purdy, who has been healthy this offseason, participating fully in OTAs and mandatory minicamp exercises. He believes the increased workload will help him hit the ground running this season. He told reporters, last year I didn't have this, so now I'm able to attack everything. I feel like I've gotten better. Michael, last year he was pretty good. No way or no doubt, Brock Purdy will have his best year this season with the 49ers.
No doubt. He's a young player. You have to go back to Russell Wilson for a player on a rookie contract, not drafted in the first round, to go to a Super Bowl. Brock Purdy did. Now, you have to go back to Patrick Mahomes in year 3 of his rookie deal to win a Super Bowl. So this is a rarity. What he's accomplished is rarefied air. He doesn't get held in that esteem for some reason I don't understand. Russell Wilson did, Kurt Warner did, but poor Brock Purdy can't. This guy's really good. He's going to keep getting good. His body's going to get bigger. He's going to get stronger. And they're going to keep allowing him to be great. Look, of course, when he throws an interception, somebody will make a stupid case about it. But, yeah, he's going to get better. There's no doubt in my mind about that.
Yeah, I don't know why people, when they talk about Brock Purdy, are always just sipping on haterade. Let the guy live. 49ers, by the way, favored in every single regular season game this season. They're the second shortest shot to win a Super Bowl after last year's ultimate defeat for the Lombardi Trophy. Now, last season, Tyreek Hill told everybody that would listen he was going for 2,000 yards. Unfortunately, an ankle injury the back half of the season derailed his plans. He was on pace to break the NFL record, ultimately came 165 yards short. But Calvin Johnson, who of course holds that record, is speaking to the Detroit Free Press about the record this week and said, it's bound to fall at some point the way it's going, so it is what it is. No way or no doubt, Michael, Calvin Johnson's regular season receiving yards record will fall in the near future.
Well, we got 18 games, so there's certainly a case to be made, but I don't think so. No way that it
Really?
can. It's too hard to stay healthy, even though you don't get hit coming over the middle as much as you did. But look, it's too damn hard to do it. I think it's a challenge. I think, if Jefferson maybe would have had Kirk Cousins and played 18 games when we get there, that could happen. I just think it's really hard. So I'm going to say no way on that.
If Hill would have been healthy, he would have gotten there. Still ultimately did lead the league with 1,799 yards.
He's so good,
He's
though.
so good. He's so good.
He's such an outlier that it takes somebody like him to get there.
When win totals opened up at DraftKings this offseason, the Carolina Panthers and New England Patriots were both sitting at 4.5 for the lowest win totals in the NFL this year. Since then, Carolina has been bet up to 5.5, leaving New England as the lone 4.5 win total. No way or no doubt, Michael, the Patriots deserve to have the lowest win total this NFL season.
Yeah, there's a lot to be proven. I think last night is so interesting. There's no doubt they should be the lowest team here because they're coming off of a team that didn't have a very good kicker. They didn't address that, right? Their quarterbacking situation, they're going to go with Brissett. Their offensive line is up in the air. And, if you think you can just let Belichick walk out of the building and the defense is going to improve or stay the same, you got nothing coming. The strength of their team was their defense last year. It's not going to be this year. It's probably not going to be as good. So I think there's going to be a lot of people that use New England in Survivor. And every week they're going to be the team that looks to, because I think they'll have the first pick in the draft next year. The more you study their roster, study their team, their influx of quarterback, and they have a head coach who's only been coaching for, 3-5 years? And he's taken over for the greatest. Like, we used to say when we were around there, man, I hate to be the guy that takes over for Bill. We would have this conversation. Josh McDaniels, Matty Patricia, all of us would sit there and say, whoever gets this job next, he's in for a world of hurt. We don't say that anymore because we think that the guy that left is really great. It's going to be hard to replace him. He's great. It's like trying to replace a great player. You don't realize he's great until they're gone. Last night, the fans in New England knew it.
Yeah. That's why they say don't know what you got till it's gone. And good luck, Patriots, with that schedule, by the way. Toughest strength of schedule in the entire NFL. They're also the plus 350 favorite to have the fewest wins, the Panthers at plus 550. Now, last season, Travis Kelce, we know, saw a slight decline in his regular season numbers, but he did rise to the occasion in the playoffs, was a critical piece of why they were able to win back-to-back Super Bowls. At 34 years old, naturally, he's fielding questions about how long he has left in the game. Here's Kelce.
I'm still a little kid when I come into this building, man. I know I'm 34 years old, about to be 35, but I have a love to do this right here in the middle of the heat in June. I love coming to work every single day and doing this. So I'm going to do it till the wheels fall off, and hopefully that doesn't happen anytime soon. Wear and tear me, baby. I'm ready for it, man. Put the load on me. I love being accountable for the men and women in this building and Chiefs Kingdom. I love the aspect of everybody count on me to try and make that play for the team.
I love the mentality, but will the wheels fall off, Michael? No way or no doubt, Travis Kelce is still Mahomes' most important weapon heading into his 12th season.
No doubt he still is. And I think, to me, what I loved about what he was saying was it's a little bit reminiscent of what Toby Keith sang about in the song Don't Let the Old Man In. He doesn't want to let the old man in. Clint Eastwood told him that when they were playing golf one day. He and Toby Keith, they were playing golf, and Toby Keith was marveling at how Clint Eastwood was getting ready to go do The Mule, the movie in Savannah, Georgia, and he was playing golf in the heat in the Carmel Valley, and he's had all this energy, and he's like, how the hell can he do that? Like, what are you doing? And he gave him a great line. He said, I'm never going to let the old man in. And then Toby Keith put another line in it. How old would you be if you didn't know the day you were born? That's what Kelce's saying right there. I know the day I'm born, but I don't really know how old I am. That's powerful. And that's what we need to do. And so I think, to me, Father Time's going to win. There's no question, but maybe not as soon. But he's still the best player on their team. And that team works hard.
It is still so crazy to think that Travis and Gronk are the same age, and Gronk retired for the second time 2 years ago. We got two more here, so let's hit this next one quickly. No way or no doubt, this week's Dan Hurley saga was an embarrassment for the Lakers as an organization.
No way it was. I'm not sure they were. The way they've not said anything about it lends me to think that it came from somewhere else other than them, and they couldn't control it. So I don't think look, you can never be embarrassed trying to chase somebody, right? If that's the case, then, no girls would get chased in high school because you get too embarrassed. That's not going to happen. I think, to me, there's more to this than just the Lakers. I think it had a lot to do with the worldwide leader creating stories because somebody else was creating a story.
Let the insider gladiator wars continue, by the way, between Shams and Wojnarowski. I am here for it. Okay, last one here in case you missed it. James Harden's reaction to his girlfriend catching a bouquet at a wedding over the weekend has spread like wildfire on the internet. Look at this, and look at our boy's eyes. That is cartoon style how big they are. He is not loving it. No way or no doubt, Michael, James Harden is avoiding a ring at all costs.
No doubt.
Is that too low? Is that too low hanging fruit?
That was too low. But here's the question: did you expect James Harden not to be in a bow tie? Did you not expect him to be in a bow tie? I mean, it was so perfect, wasn't it? There. And she's trying to make him feel like it. And what did he do? He did exactly what he's done to the Oklahoma Thunder, the Houston Rockets, the Brooklyn Nets, the Philadelphia 76ers, and soon to be the Clippers. He turned and walked away.
Look at those eyes. That still shot is unbelievable. But I just love all of the way that the internet has received this. He can't even get a ring for himself, honey. He's not getting one for you. Rough. Okay, we're going to hit the break. When we come back, VSiN Zone, Mike Somich stops by. He's got some plays in Major League Baseball, as well as Game 3 between the Edmonton Oilers and Florida Panthers coming up tonight in the Stanley Cup Final. We'll be right back. This is the Lombardi Line on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is the Lombardi Line with former NFL executive Michael Lombardi. Now here is your host, Stormy Bonatoni, on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
If you like watching and listening to VSiN live, you're going to love all of our content that's also available at VSiN.com. We've got best bets from all of our show hosts and guests, updated betting splits, exclusive articles, including up right now on the website, our guy Michael Lombardi's latest column, When is a Quarterback Overpaid? Michael debunking the idea that a team's best chance to win is a quarterback on a rookie contract. Also right now, how to get the most out of the end of the NBA Finals. The Stanley Cup Final rolls on tonight with Game 3. Ways to approach all of that good stuff up right now at VSiN.com. Alongside Michael Lombardi, Stormy Bonatoni with you as we welcome you back to the Lombardi Line. We welcome in great friend of the show, Mike Somich on the Progressive Guest Line, VSiN, host of The Handle every weekend here on VSiN and DraftKings Network. And, let's start actually with the NBA. I know we were going to dive right into the NHL, but I feel like coming off of last night's game, we've talked about it a lot today. Does this thing just feel over, dead in the water? Can the Mavs even get one, Mike?
It sure does feel over. I mean, yesterday was really the opportunity. Was the opportunity. No Porzingis. And you had Luka and Kyrie both playing very well in the first half. Luka obviously fouls out. And they just could not get over that hump. It was tied to 50 at half, able to make a little bit of push toward the fourth quarter there. But that was the chance for them to really win a game and be able to get themselves back in the series. Now you have to win 4 in a row against a team that's only lost 20 all season. Just a really tough situation. And I've heard a lot of people saying, hey, I really like the Mavs laying the 1 in Game 4. I'm not going to touch Game 4. I'm worried we might just see emotional letdown here from the Mavericks in this spot, and the Celtics able to cruise to the finals and sweep them out.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that I felt like their spirit got burnt in the third quarter. I just don't know how you recover from that. And I know everybody's talking about Luka complaining and Luka not playing defense. Well, this has been going on for a while, right? So let's not get carried away here. But the reality of it is Boston's just a better team, and I think Dallas and the Dallas fans know it, Mike.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's just tough. I mean, without Porzingis, that was their chance, and you saw that Boston still able to put up the points they were. I think it was a point less in each game through the first 3 games. Their defense still solid. You saw a little bit more from the Mavs role players, but still not enough to be able to get it going. And like I said, when you see Kyrie and you see Luka playing well like that, that's when they need to have a lead. They need to be able to be up in those situations, and they weren't able to do that in the first half. And then you just saw Boston make that run in the third quarter. I think it's going to be really tough for Dallas to get back up for Game 4 in this situation. And I don't think we see the letdown we've seen from Boston in previous rounds, where we saw them in a couple Game 2s just kind of be lackadaisical. I think they're pretty dialed in at this point. And if anything, I'm playing the Celtics in the Game 4, but I right now I don't have a bet on it, and I'm not planning on betting it. Maybe a little bit of under. I've been playing the under in this series, but to me, this is just a really tough game to bet, because the mentality for both of these teams is very hard to diagnose at this point.
Well, and you've been cashing in if you've been betting the under 3-0 so far in this set. The total coming up for Game 4, 211.5, and the money line price is -110 each way. Mike Somich joining us, host of The Handle here on VSiN and DraftKings Network. Let's get into a little Stanley Cup final talk. Game 3 coming up tonight between the Oilers and Panthers. And will we see the same like we have in the NBA Finals with the Florida Panthers going up 3-0 tonight? It appears captain for Florida, Alexander Barkov, is expected to play coming up tonight. He looked good at practice yesterday, but this is a team also that, for as well as they've played, got out of their routine yesterday due to the travel issues that they had. We talked about it with Mike Palm on the program earlier today. They were sitting on a tarmac for 4 hours before they had to take a 5-hour cross-country, cross-border trip. What's your evaluation here of Game 3 and your approach with Florida?
Well, sitting on a tarmac in a private jet's a lot nicer than sitting one in a Southwest airplane, right? So I'm not going to feel awful here for the Florida Panthers and their travel issues there. I bet Florida Game 1. I bet Florida Game 2. I bet Florida Game 3. I think they're just simply the better team. And you saw frustration take over for the Oilers in that third period of Game 3 as well. They haven't been able to get it going on the power play, and that was the key coming into this series. Was Edmonton going to be able to win special teams? Because that was their chance to win this series. 5-on-5, Florida is just the better team. We saw a lot of late money. I thought that was interesting on Edmonton in Game 2. I'm interested to see if we see that same money flow in. I bet Florida +120. We've seen that tick down to +114 now. If we get this number up, if we do get that late Edmonton push again, I'm going to rebet Florida again. I also played some reverse puck line here. So I took Florida minus the goal and a half. You can get that at a monster number. +190 was the last. I'm sorry, +220 was the last I saw. So I'm interested in Florida being able to win in regulation. Florida -1.5. Florida win the game. They're simply the better team, and their penalty kill has been phenomenal against this Oilers power play. You've got the better goaltender in Bobrovsky over Skinner as well. I think Florida just kind of keeps it rolling here. And they've been very good on the road as well. This isn't a team that's going to struggle just because they're going on the road. And when I went to Game 3 in St. Louis against Boston, and it had been a long time, 50 years since St. Louis went to a finals. The building had a lot of nervous energy, and you could tell the players felt that as well. I think it's going to be a great atmosphere in Edmonton, but I do think there's going to be a nervous energy here in a must-win game. And that's a situation where I kind of like the road team being able to go in and be able to steal one. So I think we see that early push from the Oilers. So I do like Oilers first to 5 shots, but I like Florida in the game. I think they're going to be able to come out and eventually assert their will, be able to pem Edmonton in their own zone, much like they did in Game 2, and be able to just kind of overwhelm this Oilers team. So I'm all over the Panthers again tonight.
Mike, I know we weren't scheduled to talk about it, but right now, currently, there's only 19 golfers on the course. There's guys tied for even par or under. So the course of Tiger Woods shot +4. Mickelson was +9 today. Was there someone you liked in this tournament moving forward? I
played a little Edberg before it started at 22-1. He's one back right now. I didn't get overly involved in this U.S. Open, though. I thought it was a tough one. I was actually going to bet Jon Rahm if he ended up playing because I thought we were going to get a much better number than we would have ended up with because of the injury. He obviously withdrew, so I ended up not making that bet. So I got a little Oberg, but other than that, not a bunch of U.S. Open interest, although I do love watching this tournament. I like bad golf, Michael. I like it when they struggle out there because it makes me feel human because my golf looks like that as well. So this is one of my favorite tournaments all year. I love it when we have a -2, -3 winner. It looks like we'll have someone around the -8 range after seeing this first round win this year, but I like bad golf. I think it's more fun to watch.
Oh, they're not robots after all. Yeah, it is. It is nice that, you can shank one to the left just like I can. In Major League Baseball coming up today, we got 4 games in action right now, but 7 more still to come. I know you're active with some alternate angles. We discussed last week the 9th inning prop bets. It looks like you're diving into that market again today. What are you looking at?
Yeah, it's fun. I found this bet, I think, 10 days ago now, and 7-1 so far on the bet. So it's gone very, very well so far, and it's taking some of these favorites at better prices. Today, the Diamondbacks jump out to me. You got Fat on the mound taking on the Los Angeles Angels, and I'm betting against the Angels any opportunity I can. It's an offense that's not very good and a bullpen that's terrible. Sets up perfectly for this style of angle. So I took will the Diamondbacks bat in the bottom of the 9th? No. And right now they are -195 for the game. You can get that at -125 that they will not bat in the bottom of the 9th there over on DraftKings.com. So took the no on that. And then I also played the same bet in the White Sox and the Mariners. Another situation where I get to bet against a bad team in the White Sox. And I've got the Mariners pitching at home here. You got Hancock on the mound, not their best pitcher, but at the same time, you can still get a very good price on this. Since the pitching change, it was +100 before the pitching change. Now you can get +125 on will the Mariners bat in the bottom of the 9th. So going with the no, but the Mariners will not bat in the bottom of the 9th, +125 today.
I love it.
And you also
That's a good play. I mean, go ahead, Stormy.
Oh, I was just going to say, it looks like you also have a first 5 bet today, which, again, like, I like that you go alternate routes. Like, you find ways to bet on these teams and players and different things versus just a money line or a run line. I think those first 5 bets are easier. Not necessarily easier to handicap, but easier to get a hold of because you're relying on a certain pitcher versus whatever hell could break loose later on in a game. But what else are you looking at today?
Yeah, the first 5, something I absolutely love. Wrote an article on VSiN about it a couple weeks ago. About 80% of my baseball bets come in first 5 because I handicap starting pitchers. I think that's what most people do when they're looking at baseball. So when you're playing first 5, you're taking out the variance of not knowing what relievers are going to come in. You're generally going to see starters go 5 innings. So you have more of a static rooting interest here because you know who's going to be pitching for both teams. You have generally a good idea of what the lineup is going to be. And in this case, Phillies Red Sox, I was surprised the total sitting at 9.5 in this game. I'm going to go to the under in the first 5 here. You've got 2 very good pitchers, Nola going on the hill for the Phillies and Tanner Houck, who's been phenomenal for the Red Sox. You can get under 4.5 right now. It's -115, so a little juice to the under, but I like the under 4.5 first 5 quite a bit. I think both these pitchers should be able to dominate the offenses. And again, I'm handicapping starting pitchers. I don't want to worry about the bullpens. I don't want to worry about who's going to come in, what changes you're going to have to these lineups. I just want to focus on what I'm handicapping, and that usually means I'm playing first 5s.
You're awesome. Always appreciate your insight, Mike. Thanks for joining us.
You got it. Have
Thanks,
a good one.
Mike. Appreciate you.
Mike Somich, again, make sure you tune in to he and Matt Brown every weekend on The Handle right here on VSiN and DraftKings Network. You can also follow him on X at SamaBomb18. We're going to hit the break. When we come back, wrapping things up, continuing our NFL mandatory minicamp burning questions. And ladies and gentlemen, I just looked. The UFL game props have been released. There is one I am already liking. We'll be right back.
Uh-oh.
This is the Lombardi Line with former NFL executive Michael Lombardi. Now here is your host, Stormy Buonantony, on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
We're this close to crowning an NBA champ, and with the action heating up on the court, it's even hotter at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code VSiN, that's VSIN, for new customers to get a $150 bonus bet when you bet just $5 only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Fast show today as we are wrapping things up on the Lombardi Line. Michael Lombardi and Stormy Bonantoni with you. Before we get to some of our NFL mandatory minicamp burning questions as we continue that series like we have all week, it's time for our pro tip. We do these each and every day here at VSiN. Every show does. You can search them on VSiN.com by sport or by show if you're looking for tips specifically from a certain person. But today we're going back to the storm warning that I had earlier in hour one, talking about the UFL and how many opportunities there are specifically in the prop market when betting this league, because odds makers simply are not paying as close attention to the UFL as they probably should be right now. There's opportunity even in sides and totals, but particularly those props. And this is the last weekend you can do it because Sunday is the championship. And in the last block, I was just looking through, refreshing the page to see if they had the props up. And they do for the game now officially. And already I'm looking at stuff for Birmingham quarterback Adrian Martinez, who, Michael, this past week in the conference championship game against Michigan, he was pulled because he played so poorly, had multiple turnovers in the game. He was running for his life. Now he's going to be playing a San Antonio team who is the lone team that beat the Birmingham Stallions in the regular season this year, that has the best pass rush in the league. So I think he's going to have to use his legs and at times probably be running for his life a little bit more than usual. And the head coach, Skip Holtz, has already come out and say that while he's starting Adrian Martinez, he's going to play Matt Corral as well. So his passing yards prop is set at 170.5. He had 164 last week when he was pulled in the third quarter. He had 163 in the last full game he played and 211 yards for the full game against San Antonio the first time around. If he's only playing half the game, I really find it hard to believe that he's going to get over that. Same thing looking at his interception number. He's had 3 picks in the last 4 games. It's only over half a pick there. The pass attempt set at 25.5. I feel like a lot of these unders could come through for Adrian Martinez. I'll do a full write-up on VSiN.com this weekend for my thoughts on the championship. But just at first blush, as I'm looking at this market, I'm like, ooh, Adrian Martinez unders look good to me.
Yeah. How about the overall game, Stormy? How do you handicap that? What's your thoughts there?
I am in a very fortunate position, I will say, because, again, I'm somebody I've been working these games every single week. I know the players. I'm talking to the coaches every week. I feel like I have a good handle on it. So I actually have futures for both teams. So I'm going to be profitable either way from a futures standpoint, whether Birmingham or San Antonio wins. But again, at first blush, when I see Birmingham laying 3, even with 2 quarterbacks, I think it could be a gift. I know that they haven't looked quite as dominant as they did throughout the course of the regular season. San Antonio, to me, is not nearly as good as they have appeared. Like, they've won a lot of games in that kind of, I don't want to say gimmicky fashion, but, they convert the 4th and 15 to come back and rally in the fourth quarter. How many times this year? I just feel like that's not sustainable for a championship team, whereas Birmingham's been the best team all season long. San Antonio, like I said, is the only team that beat them late in the regular season when they had already locked up the playoffs. They had already locked up home field. It didn't really matter to that extent. And I think that could give them a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. Say, hey, let's get a little bit of redemption for this, get our 3rd straight spring football championship and walk out of this a winner. So I like Birmingham -3, but I'm gonna be profitable either way. The way this game plans out, which is nice. Which, again, read the articles this week. We've been doing good. We're well over 500 for the season. I think we're 20,
you always are.
20-10-1, and we're on a really, really good run the last couple of weeks. But okay, let's do
That's
our
awesome.
burning questions for NFL mandatory minicamp to close out the day. Heading to the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have a new offensive coordinator in Arthur Smith, got a new quarterback in Russell Wilson. And I mean, 2, really, when you include Justin Fields, who could potentially play this year as well. So how do we anticipate Arthur Smith reviving this offense that has struggled mightily when it comes to quarterback play the last couple years?
Well, I mean, what he's going to do is everybody gives Arthur Smith crap because all the people in the analytic community, well, he didn't use 3 receivers very much. He was he was using 2 tight ends. Stop. Kyle Pitts is not a tight end. He's a wide receiver. He was in 11 because he had to be with Kyle Pitts. So just knock off the conversation. Look, he's going to run the ball with Najee Harris. He's going to run the ball with Warren. He's going to run play action. He's going to try to bootleg and move Russell around. I think the biggest concern he has is in watching Russell is, will Russell work and climb the ladder in the pocket? But look, the Steelers are so used to winning ugly. I mean, they do it all the time against the Baltimore Ravens. They just find a way to win a game. Their defense, if it stays healthy with T.J. Watt coming off the edge and Highsmith, that makes them effective. I think the addition of Wilson, the inside linebacker, along with Queen will help. But Smith will run the ball, play action, and they'll do way more offensively. And you'll see how good Freiermuth is. You'll see how this offensive line improves. I don't know if I love Wilson, but I think I do love what Arthur Smith will do.
Yeah, I don't have any doubts about the defense, to your point, as long as TJ Watt's healthy. Like, I love what they're going to bring on that side of the ball. And if you ask Russell Wilson, he's like a newborn baby. He's so rejuvenated and ready to go in his new position there in Pittsburgh. The only real worry and concern I have for Pittsburgh is the schedule, right? And the challenge that they're going to have playing in that division and the way that the end of the year pans out for them. Can they continue the string of winning seasons alive for Mike Tomlin is another one of my burning questions, but we'll get to that at a later date. How about the Seattle Seahawks? What's the most important thing for first-time head coach Mike Macdonald to get across here in his first mandatory minicamp, team activities in the offseason? What should he be focusing on?
I think he's got to focus on just staying healthy with the offense, right? They've got two really good running backs in Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet. They're really good. And then defensively, they've got to stop the run. So it's how are we going to run the football and how are we going to stop the run? That's got to be the focus, right? Because they've got really good skill. Geno Smith is very accurate with the football, but where they fell short last year is they couldn't stop the run in a stadium where it's loud as possible, which is unheard of. And I think if they could stop the run and Walker can stay healthy for 17 games, this is a playoff team, Stormy.
Ooh, love it. If you do think that they can make the postseason, plus 180, the price, bet $100, win back 180. Win total this season set at 7.5. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are without Dave Canales, who helped rejuvenate Baker Mayfield's career his first season in Tampa. They re-signed Baker. What's the ceiling for this offense now with new OC Liam Cohen?
Well, I think it's continuation. Can we continue to grow, right? Canales came in and set the groundwork, and I think that Liam Cohen's going to continue on with this and just continue to build on the strengths of what Baker can do. Remember, Baker had an up-and-down year. It was way up and down. I think the last memory I have, it was up because he played well against Detroit. But I think it's got to be more consistency and the ability to not have. I mean, when he played Atlanta in Atlanta, he was horrendous for 55 minutes. In the last drive of the game, he kind of got it going, and they won the game on that last drive. So for me, I think that's kind of where it all going to start and end right there.
In the division, plus 310, the price there in the NFC South, win total set at 8.5. And of course, coming off a playoff appearance last year in Baker's first season. Last, but certainly not least, the Washington Commanders, who have a lot that they are trying to rebuild. They have a new number 2 overall pick at quarterback in Jaden Daniels. How will the Commanders' flurry of offseason moves ultimately translate to the field? Do you have a gut feeling?
Yeah, I do. I think it's got to all come together. They got to lay the foundation of their defense with Dan Quinn, and, they got to build off of that. And then they've got to find a way to protect the quarterback. I mean, one thing we do know about Jaden Daniels, he can run with the football. And this offensive line isn't much improved, right? They signed Nick Allegretti from the Chiefs, right? They have him playing guard. There's still Cornelius Lucas is the left tackle. That's not going to be quite good enough. So they've got some issues up front, and they do have skilled players, but they have a quarterback who's going to be a little bit nervous in the pocket. There's no question. He's going to want to move around, and I think ultimately they've got to settle him down to let him be a passer first, utilize a little bit of what they can do in the run game with signing Eckler, keeping Robinson there on the team as they had before. So look, one thing about Washington, it's going to be a work in progress. It's just not going to happen overnight. They're not good enough, but they have improved their level of play, and their defense will be simple enough to where they should be able to play good enough defense early as their offense grows.
And you wonder, too, given the success that a guy like Cliff Kingsbury had, at least early on in the career of a guy like Kyler Murray, if some of those things can translate to the way that he's trying to coach up Jaden Daniels. Like Kyler Murray, his rookie season in those first couple years was very, very fun to watch. We'll see what that's like for Jaden Daniels. 6.5 the season win total for the Washington Commanders. That's a wrap for us today. Michael, enjoy your weekend. This was fun.
Thank you, Stormy. You have a great weekend. I hope you hit all your bets, Stormy.
Prayers up. I hope so too, buddy. That's a wrap for us. Coming up next on VSiN, it's Patrick Maher, Dustin Sweetelson in Shark Money. And if you're watching on DraftKings Network, get ready for Pablo Torre Finds Out. Have a great day.
DraftKings, giving a bonus bet back if I lose so I don't have to sweat my bet? NBA Hall of Famer Patrick Ewing. Now, you know all about sweating. Break it down for us.
A no-sweat